Check, check, check. Everything look good. Checkity, checkity, check. Check the volume on this. Don't have my headphones on. All right. What's up, everybody? We're back, reacting to another video. So I've been tagged in this a bunch of times. Even my friends have been messaging me like, "Hey, have you seen this video?" So this video is called "Which Grading Company is the Best?" As you guys know, I graded with tag recently. It started a whole bunch of drama. This is scientifically testing card grading company Slabs. This is by TCG Random, so make sure before this video starts, everybody who's watching, subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment on TCG Random's channel. Okay? Make sure you show him some love and support. I have not seen this video yet. This is the first time I'm seeing it. So I'm very curious to see what scientifically proven is the best tag, okay? Or not tag. Tags on my mind recently, alright? Which card company, grading company is the best cases, okay? Whatever. We're going to get into it, okay? So immediately, he's like actually a scientist, okay? Or something like that. I had no idea. This music's pretty banging.
PSA, TAD, CGC, HGA, Beckett, AGS, Mana, SGC, Crown, CAG, GMA, Talisman, Top Shelf, and BCCG.
So out of all those companies, I've only heard of CGC, PSA, AGS, obviously Tag, Beckett, and that's it. I have not heard of any of the other ones, so I'm curious to see what they look like and how they hold up.
Today we're going to put all of these slabby patties to the test.
Ooh, slabby patties.
That are meant to determine which one actually protects your parts the best. They will then get a score, and at the end, the highest point value wins. So make your guesses in the comments. First test is going to be durometer. Durometer tells you how...
Who do you guys think is going to be the strongest out of all of them? If I had to guess, I would guess Beckett. Beckett would probably be the best, strongest case. Just guessing.
Soft the material is. It'll use this small pin on the bottom to poke into the plastic, and it'll give a score based on a 1 to 100 scale of how soft the plastic is. Let's do it.
So right there, I just kind of want to point out the harder the plastic, the more brittle it is. Is that correct? Because you don't want the plastic to be so hard that it cracks under any type of force or like bending. So technically, wouldn't a softer plastic be better in this case? Like you want a good middleman between like soft and hard, because you want it to be hard to where it protects the card, but soft enough to where it doesn't immediately shatter under being bent. That's just an educated guess.
Up is tag. About 86.6 for a good high start. Then we have...
It goes to 100, so that's pretty high.
80.1. Not bad. Now an old style PSA slab.
What is the difference between an old style PSA slab and a new style? They looked exactly the same to me.
80.5. Just a little bit harder. HGA.
HGA I've never heard of.
88, highest one. Now with the Crown Collectibles and grading.
I actually,
It's like a PSA slab,
I've
but
never heard of
it's
them, but I do have a card from them.
AGS. Also a PSA slab clone.
Ooh, saying that AGS is a PGA slab a PSA slab clone. Um, if I can remember correctly, isn't AGS another like AI grading company, kind of like Tag?
With so far 65.7. BCCG.
PCCG.
Performance for
I've
this.
I've never heard of that either.
26.6 is respectable. Nano grading.
Again, never heard of them.
71.
Are these all US based or is it like everywhere? Never heard of Top Shelf either.
74.5. Beckett.
Everybody knows Beckett. Oh man, that's a nice card.
80.5.
Huh.
SGC.
So SGC I see at the flea markets all the time. I go to my flea markets a lot in the spring and the summer. I see these credit cards all the time, and for some reason these flea market vendors think they're worth their weight in actual gold, and they're always selling them for like triple the price of any eBay solds. It's really weird.
Just beating the Beckett. CGC.
Obviously, you know CGC. A pristine 10, like couldn't you get like a 6 to test this?
Talisman grading. This is one somewhat local to me. It's a few times over. 70.1.
Oh, so that sounds US based then.
5.3. GMA.
Never heard of them either.
79.7. I think that's the hardest PSA clone so far. So looking here at the durometer scale, HGA comes in first. Tag.
Let me see what that. All right, so HGA is first, then Tag, then CGC. I don't know the difference between old and new PSA. So again, like I'm saying, is hardness the scale that you want? Because wouldn't hard plastic be more susceptible to like cracks versus bendable? Like if it's softer, it's more malleable, right? Kind of like Play-Doh, you know? You let your Play-Doh outside for too long, it turns into a crusty pizza, and you can't put it back in the container. So, yeah.
Takes second, and CGC takes third place. Interestingly, PSA old is harder than PSA new, which is not supposed to be the case. So far, the only surprise looks like AGS at the bottom. Here's our points. For this round, I simply have 15 slabs. First place gets 15 points. Second.
Oh, that's a cool grading scale.
All the way across the board. Behold the UV oven, or as I like to call it, the Sun Simulator 9000. Welcome to the next test. With this, we're going to test the UV protection capabilities of each slab. But first, let's start with the control.
So this is like to mimic the sun. That's pretty cool. But again, like I believe this test. Like I mean, who's putting their cards out in the sunlight? You know what I mean? Unless you're like maybe a vendor, and it's a very sunny lit like maybe it's like an outside vending area. You know. But other than that, I don't think my cards would ever be out in the sunlight.
The settings I currently have it at.
But it is cool to figure out who has the best UV protection, I guess.
Look at that crispy card.
Oh God.
They don't do that in the slabs. We'll put them in one at a time.
So does the UV make them like fade or something? Or is this like,
Here they come.
is this not to protect the card, but more so like make the
So
case
we're gonna
not
check out
work?
some before and afters. Here is the control card. Now we've got CAG. Looks pretty decent after. CGC before. After. Looks pretty good. BCCG. Now if you'll notice on this one, the inner sleeve has crumpled. And the card is not damaged, but I don't think anybody is going to want a slab with a crumpled inner sleeve. Tag. Exactly the same afterwards. HGA. Same issue with the crumpled sleeve. This one looks a little...
So I do find it interesting that some companies sleeve their cards first and then put it in the case. And I think the way, the purpose of doing that is to eliminate shaking. Because if you remember in the couple videos I made a while back, I shook all the cards that I had, and like the PSA, the CGC, and the Tag, the cards had a lot of shifting in the case. But if you put the sleeve on it, it fits like perfectly into this little lip area here. So it kind of holds the card in place a little bit better, so there's no really shake. But there again, there's really no purpose of putting a sleeve in there other than to eliminate shake.
A little bit better than BCCG did. Also, if you look at the label is a little bit warped. Top shelf looks fine. GMA, crumpled inner sleeve, and we also have a crumpled label on this one. Talisman looks fine. PSA, new slab. Card looks fine, but that label is super warped and crumpled.
And that's the new one.
Something interesting about this slab, after going through the UV oven, I noticed this weird damage on the case. Later on, when I crack it open, I find out there's some sort of film on the inside of the slab, only on the backside though, and it did get damaged by the UV. And it's only on the new slabs, not on the old slabs. We've got Beckett, crinkled inner sleeve.
Yeah, I was about to say. See, Beckett has the sleeve, and Beckett's sleeve's like really big in their case for some reason.
SGC, looks fine. Mana grading, crumpled inner sleeve, old PSA slab, crumpled label, AGS, crumpled label, crown, looks fine. And
A lot of these companies use like the exact same slab.
UV and the durometer test put together. How I did the UV test was, seems like all of the slabs protected the card from being crumpled like the control card was, so that's really good. So what I did was 10 points if there was no inner sleeve damage and no label damage. I took off 5 points for either one of those, and then I took off another 5 if it had both. So tag, CGC, and crown are currently top 3 with SGC close behind. Congratulations, you've made it to test number.
That's pretty interesting.
Welcome to the environmental chamber. The room is yellow because this isn't.
So I've never seen this guy's channel before. I have no idea what he does, but like, what the hell does he actually do to have all these crazy devices?
Anti-UV light room, so all of the lights have UV shielding on them. We're gonna stick all of these slabs into this environmental chamber. We're gonna crank up the heat.
I mean, he's in like full gear.
Have it moderately warm in there, and we're gonna leave it for at least 30 minutes, probably more. They look good. We'll put in our preferred program, and it's running.
So he put it to like 30 degrees Celsius. I don't know how much that is in Fahrenheit because I'm American and we don't do Celsius.
These have been in here for a little over an hour, so let's take them all out.
So this is just like a heat test.
Around, I don't see any moisture in there. Tag got some moisture in there, quite a bit.
Oh, is it like a humidity chamber then? Like hot and humid?
Damaged the card. SGC, I was wondering how this weird plastic insert was gonna do with the humidity testing. And you
Okay.
can see it sandwiched in there if you look on the edge. I think that just allows a gap. AGS looks pretty good. Old PSA slab looks good. Talisman grading looks good on the front.
Huh.
But turn it around to the back.
I like the yellow label.
And there's water in there. Top shelf, I really love the Sableye, and it is not damaged. No moisture in there. BCCG, surprisingly, no moisture. New PSA slab.
So BCCG says Beckett on the back. So what is that? Is that like a lower end Beckett grading? 'Cause if anybody knows that, put it in the comments because I have no idea what that is.
No moisture. Mana grading. It's got some moisture in there, not a lot. CGC looks good. GMA was interesting. It has little bubbles on the edges. None of it got to the actual card though.
Huh.
Crown looks good. Beckett looks good. And honestly, even if moisture did get into the Beckett one, that card in there I found out is completely sealed inside their little plastic sleeve, so water wouldn't have hurt the card anyway.
Oh, that's really cool. So it's not just like a regular like penny sleeve. It's actually a complete sealed sleeve. That's pretty cool.
Moisture up in the top there. Nowhere else. And let's go to the points. So for this section, I did a similar thing to the last section. Everyone started with 10 points. You got 5 points taken away if there was water inside the case, and then you got another 5 points taken away if the water got to the card. So after adding it with our other points in the last 2 rounds, this is what it's looking like. We got CGC, Crown, and Old PSA Slab in the lead currently. HGA has dropped to 4th place, and Tag has dropped to 6th place. Most cards aren't going to be subjected to that kind of humidity for that long of a time, but it is fun, and it's good to know. If anything, it tells you really how well they are sealed. Test number 4.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Things get a little bit more destructive. So in this round,
Jesus Christ, that was a jump scare and a half.
But I have put on a force meter. This force meter has different tips you can put on it. It has a pointed tip on it right now. There's a wedge tip. There's
Digital
flat
force
tip.
gauge.
We're going to use this to see how much force it takes to crack the slab in different places. First, we're going to start with the label area. After that, we're going to go to a corner with the pointed tip to see how hard or easy it is to crack a corner. And then we're going to go to the edge with the wedge tip. And I suspect that most of these are going to take more force than I can read effectively with the force meter for the edge. But we're going to average all the scores together, and we'll put those into the final points. this pretty quick because it's a lot. So here's the final scoring for Crack Force. This was the
So crack force. So this would be like if you drop something on it, I guess. So like the weird thing with cards is like I feel like downforce to crack it isn't really as important as like bending it. So I wonder if he does like a bend test, because I think that's where the real dangers come. Because if someone puts it in your pocket, or they have it in a case, or somebody is handling it and like it bends for any sort of reason, I feel like that's where all the breaking will happen. I don't think putting like an immense amount of pressure on the case itself and breaking it would ever like really happen.
middle of the label portion, followed by the corner, and then the edge. Max that this gauge can read is 100 foot-pounds, so that is the top. A score of 100, 100, 100 would be a perfect score. None of them got that. HGI almost did. Tag got pretty close also. Since this is a more realistic test, something people are probably more interested in, if you accidentally hit your slab, if you drop your slab, how easy is it going to be to crack it?
I guess that's a good point. If you ever like drop it out of your pocket, I guess that would be this would be a valuable test to see. But again, I think it's more important about like bending. I wonder if there's a bend test.
Interested to see how this related to durometer, because it's softer plastic. It's usually less brittle. It's not going to crack as easily. So I weighed this test a little bit heavier than the other tests so far. The winner gets 30 points, and then it's 2 less points for second place, 2 less for third, 2 less for fourth, and so on. You can see HGA and Tag almost perfect scores. Beckett was pretty good too. AGS and Mana were next with a tie. Crown, SGC, CAG, CGC, interestingly, PSA, both new and old, were pretty far down the list. They were some of the easiest to crack, and I know that from real-world experience. Nobody expected BCCG to do well. We never do. GMA. So here it is.
Why does he hate? He hates on BCCG so much. I've never heard of them. I'm gonna have to see what they're about, because like, are they just notoriously known for being like cheap or bad?
Added to our total points, HGA is in first place. Tag and Crown are second place. I think Crown is the biggest upset of all of this. I did not expect Crown to do well. It seems like a cheap PSA copy slab, and I'd never heard of them before this. Beckett's in third place. Was expected, I guess. CGC fourth place. AGS and Mana are head-to-head. SGC is about middle. PSA old and new. Old is still doing better than new, and they're pretty far down the list. Let's move on to our fifth and final test before we get into some of the benefits of grading with each of the companies. All right, back in the old.
Oh, so is he actually going to talk about the
transmittance meter
companies?
This is a meter that measures how well light will pass through an object. So this will tell us the clarity of each of the slabs. For this test beforehand, all of the slabs were broken apart, so I could get through just the front face layer, and they were all cleaned with isopropyl alcohol very well before starting. We're simply just going to put the slab in front of the blinking light, and the other end will read what percentage of that light is actually getting through the slab. And that will directly tell us how clear the plastic of the slab is, how clearly you can see your card through the slab. I'm really interested to see the CGC slab, because that one, if you look at it compared to all the other ones, it has a slight blue tint to it, which I believe is some sort of UV type coating or UV type additive in the plastic. And also, I'm going to go ahead and measure the back of the new PSA slab. If you remember, it had that film on it that got damaged. Well, this is where I found the film, because I couldn't tell what it was before breaking it open. I'm going to measure that to see if it actually hurts or helps the clarity of the slab. Confused as to why it would be only on the back, but we'll see. Here we go. We've got the final clarity results. And
yeah, so this
tag.
This does not surprise me at all. I've graded with the big like 3, and like I said in my previous videos, Tag's case is by far, it's not even close. Their case was the clearest and the best looking by like 5 or 6 times the other ones. Like once you actually see it in person, it looks like you're just staring at glass. It almost looks like it's LED backlit. It's so clear. That's why I'm really excited. So hopefully they improve on the durability of their welds and the case, so we can get a super beautiful clear card with a really nice strong case. That'd be really cool.
And HGA again on top, the most clear slabs. Tag beat HGA out this time. For points here, I did what I did in the beginning. So first place gets 15 points, then 14, 13, 12, 11, so on. You can just tell by looking at the tag slabs that they're clear, and I wasn't sure if they were actually more clear or if it was just an illusion because the whole thing is clear instead of having that matte finish around the edges like some of the slabs do. Their CGC looks pretty clear, but as you can see here, it was the least clear, and I was wondering about that. The blue tint, I think that blue tint is a UV protective in the plastic or some sort of film, and it definitely hurt the transmittance. The PSA new slab, I did test the part of the slab with the film on it. It made absolutely no difference. I don't know what that film is. If it was for UV, you would think it would drop the transmittance, but it did not. PSA old slab coming out ahead of PSA new slab, so all of this stuff they were spewing around saying the new slab is better, I don't think it is, but at least the PSA new slab is medical grade, so if you want to, you can insert it into your body. Putting that rounds points into totals gives us this. We've got HGA in first.
So this is the last, that was the last test. Okay. So now these are the rankings based off of his tests, best to last.
Close behind, CC&G, which is Crown, third place. Beckett fourth, AGS.
I'm actually surprised that PSA is so low on the scale here, because like obviously, if you look online, if you go to any card shows, if you go to sell anything, like it's just PSA, right? I've gone to a few card shows and vendors won't even sell CGC or Beckett unless it's like a Beckett Black Label or a CGC Prestige 10. It's just nothing but PSA, and that's it. And I don't really understand why they're just like the king of doing it. Like they have like such a huge upcharge if you get like a valuable card, and their turnaround time is so long. Their grading is so inconsistent. I'm pretty sure everybody who does grading a lot has seen their card come back with a grade you just don't agree with. You crack it open, you send it back, and you get a better grade, and you don't do anything. If you're being honest, you should probably get a lower grade for cracking it, because the chances of you hurting it while you're cracking it is like, it makes no sense. I don't understand. Is it just because they're like around the longest? I'm not really sure, but I'm not surprised. I love Beckett, but it's only something you go if you have like an extremely rare, super well conditioned card, and then everything else is just PSA.
PGC, SGC, they're kind of in the middle there. Top shelf, CAG, PSA old, PSA new, Talisman, BCCG, GMA. So being super clear did not help BCCG out at all. So if you're just wondering what
still shitting on BCCG
are, this is your final point sheet right here. HGA is your winner, tag second, Crown is third. But another important thing I wanted to go through is the actual grading of your cards. What do you get? What are your options when you grade with these different companies? So with tag, you get a lot, and it's going to look like I'm a big tag person, and I'm not. I have no preference. I don't care about any of
Oh no, is this another tag propaganda video?
I do think tag looks the best, but I think most people, even people who don't like tag, would say that. I have not graded.
I agree. It looks the best.
Do this first before submitting my cards for grade. So this is what I found on their websites. Tag will give you high definition raw card images, slab images, stereoscopic defect imaging.
This is dancing
really cool.
guy.
It's got a little slider, and it lets you like slide it, and it shows you like the defects across your card. Centering metrics, defect identification. They have population reports. There's an option for scoring. You've got submission kits, which can be free if you submit enough cards, but it's a $50 option. Otherwise, they do not upcharge, and everything is graded with AI and sophisticated technology, meaning there's no bias. It's not going to be based on whether or not your grader had a bad day or just ate lunch or whatever. Kind of hard to find out a whole lot about it.
So that's what I said. I said in my video, I said I do think tag has the most transparency when it comes to why your card graded a certain way, and it really makes it easy for you to review specifically why your card graded a certain way, and you can kind of study that and learn what to look for on your next submission. So if you can study why it grades a certain way and why it's not getting a 10, then you can kind of train yourself to look out for more higher condition cards and kind of learn yourself what you're actually looking for. And I think that's going to help a lot of people get better grades on their future like grading journeys. Like if I know this card gets a 9 because it has this on the back or this on the front, blah 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 blah, now I know for next time when I'm looking, make sure it's in these certain type of parameters. So I do think that's a really cool solution, and I really love that from tag. And honestly, I don't know any other companies that do that.
HGA, their website is sort of down. They are saying that they are redesigning their business model. Not sure if that's a good sign.
Dang,
What they
Charizard.
find out is they do subgrades as an option. Color match labels as an option, which is something they're pretty well known for. They do population reports, pictures.
Color match
Not
labels is
about
pretty cool.
either. Crown is similar. Their website didn't find a whole lot on there. They put a grade on the card, and I saw on their website they do card of the week, so that's kind of cool and different. Beckett, subgrades are an option. Beckett is well known for their Black Label 10.
Subgrades are an option. I didn't know subgrades are an option. I thought they were mandatory. I had no idea. I guess I have seen some that have some subgrades and have not, but I didn't know
Increases
that was an
card
option.
value by a lot. Other than that, not a whole lot of features. AGS, they give you card images, surface scan defect report, which is very similar to the stereoscopic thing that Tag does. They have 8 detailed subgrades. They are also using AI and sophisticated technology. They give you a pretty nice report on why your card got what it got and all the information, the defects, everything. Mana grading, also graded with AI.
Never
as
heard
an
of mana.
option. They've got an option for printed subgrade.
So AGS and Tag are pretty similar with the subgrades and the AI grading and stuff like that. Are they the only like AI grading companies, AGS and Tag?
They do population report, give you images. They have this cool thing you get called Mana Studio, and it's sort of like the AGS and the Tag report, but it's all online. You go on there, and your card has its own profile, and you can do all sorts of things and look at all sorts of things. Something else interesting, they also have a rewards program. CGC, they grade error cards, other weird things that other places don't.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know they grade error cards. That's very cool. So like if you have an incredibly like uncut or miscut card or a misprint or something, CGC grades those. That's pretty cool.
Grade. It's kind of gotten them in hot water recently, so take that how you will. There's a pedigree option, which
Yeah. If you haven't heard, they've graded a lot of fake cards, and it's a huge deal.
shows you all of the other people who have owned this card before you. They give you population report, pictures. They might do more. That's all I could find. SGC, all I could really find was they put a grade on there, population report, probably give you pictures. Top Shelf, I looked them up. They seem to be out of business. CAG,
Yike.
totally discounting because if you go back and look, or maybe you noticed, my Gem Mint tin I tested had a large chunk out of the side of the card. So I don't trust them at all. PSA, they put a grade on there. They give you pictures, population report. Talisman gives you
Yeah.
subgrades, pictures.
PSA doesn't tell you anything.
They put a grade on there. Literally couldn't find them giving pictures or
So it
population
just
reports or any of the basics. GMA, same thing. They put a grade on there. The reason why these two were last place. So if I put those into the point total, this is what you get for.
So see, that's what that's why I was talking about how like the tag grading really took over, because like all of these big major grading companies, you just get your card back with a grade and that's it. You have no information about it, and it kind of like getting that extra information with your card kind of like tells you a story, you know, like, oh man, this card, like, it came back a perfect 10. Like, look at this scan, dude. And you get this nice little scan, and it's just absolutely flawless. You get all these pictures of it, and you're like, now you can compare that. And when you get a next card that you want to grade, you can just see what it is and be like, oh man, I know this one got a 10, and I can compare it to my old 10, and it doesn't have any of these flaws on the back. The steering looks good based off of this like calculations they gave me, and you can literally study your card and become better at spot grading and sending your card in, and you get a better grade than just randomly guessing. And then there's no human bias. So like, you know, with PSA, it's like, you know, I got up, I stayed up late last night watching the last episode of Bluey, and I cried all night long, and now I'm going to give you a 6 because I'm really sad. And then, you know, the other day you go out with your friends and they buy you drinks, and now you get a 10. So it's like, with PSA, it's just like a shot in the dark. It almost doesn't matter. I've sent their cards there that I'm like, there's no shot. This is not getting anything but a 10, and I get them like an 8. And then I'm like, how did this get an 8? Crack it open, send it back, and I get a 10. It's just dumb. So knowing what your card graded and the reason why is pretty cool. I will say though, with Tag, I just did that submission. There was one card I got back that was a 9. I didn't get any 10s. There was one card that I got back that was a 9. I might have to like go over that, because there was, on the report, it was basically saying the card was flawless. Like there was absolutely Nothing. Like, centering was perfect. There was no surface damage. There was no scratches. There was no dents. There was no whitening. The card was perfect, and they gave it a 9. So I'm not really sure how that worked, because in the report, in the pictures, they didn't mention anything. All the other ones, they did say the defects and point them out, but on just one card in particular, it just said there was no defects at all, but I got a 9, which doesn't make sense. So let's see what else.
I did another heavy weight, so 30 points to the winner, 2 less for the next, 2 less for the next, so on, because I think it's a really important aspect. Like I said, if you're just looking for the actual physical specs of the slabs, that was the previous graph. This one adds in what you get with grading.
Okay.
Tag moves ahead of HGA.
So basically, if he's giving them more points for the more transparency they get with your grading, which that's totally fair. I mean, a lot of people like that, and I think that's why Tag blew up.
Is still second, AGS third, Mana fourth, Crown fifth, Beckett CGC, SGC, PSA old still ahead of PSA new, CAG, Talisman, Top Shelf, BCCG, GMA. And you know, if I had to guess before starting this is kind of what I would have guessed. I would have put PSA a little bit higher up probably. Mana and Crown probably wouldn't have been as high up because I had never heard of them before. CGC would probably be fourth. AGS I've dealt with a lot, and I really like it.
It's kind of funny because, like, if I had to guess, like, before watching this video, if I had to guess, I would have done Beckett, PSA, CGC as, like, top 3. Just because they're just the biggest and for now. But, like, I mean, just because people hold the Beckett Black Label at such a high prestige, that's why I would figure they would be number 1.
But otherwise, it looks about right to me. So that wraps up our video. Let me know what you think of these grading companies. Is any of this gonna change your mind? I plan on doing further testing in the future. If you have any suggestions, feel free to comment down below with them. Like and subscribe. That'd be really nice if you've made it this far. Especially, I know you're a keeper. And most of this stuff, all of this stuff, I paid for myself. I bought all the slabs. I bought all the equipment.
Wait, he said he bought all the testing equipment for this video? Oh, dude, that's crazy. That's crazy. So I've never seen any of his previous videos or nothing like this. So if all this equipment used in this video, it was specifically bought for this video, dude, that's crazy commitment, and he deserves your subscription. All right, you gotta subscribe to this guy because that's crazy.
Any other tests like this, and I really wanted to know which slab is the best.
So that's a great video. Like I said, I'm gonna go ahead, subscribe, like the video. I'm on my personal account, so I'm not gonna comment because I'll comment on my other account. But anyway, this is a great video. The tests were really cool. The only thing I want to point out is I don't think the strength of the case matters, like the hardness of the plastic. If anything, I feel like the more, like, the weaker the plastic, the more malleable it will be. So if you're ever bending it, it won't break. Like, I really wish he did some type of bend test, like some type of like vice grips or something where you can bend the cards. Because, like, I mean, you guys know, if you see my previous videos, I've been in hot water over the tag situation because I cracked the tag. But like for example, with this now famous PSA card, it's like, even though it's light and like it didn't grade, like the hardness didn't come out that high, but you can see it actually bend. You see that? You can see it bending, and I feel like it needs to do that. I'm trying pretty hard here, but I feel like it needs to do that to hold up so it doesn't shatter. Here's like a CGC. Oh, I'm not gonna bend this one because I actually just gave this one away. Okay, I gave this one away. So whoever, make sure you guys like and subscribe because I do giveaways a lot. But anyway, great video. Very, very cool points, but I really wish there was a bend test. Hopefully, maybe he makes another one with a bend test because I think that's really what people care about. Like, obviously, you're not going to bend your card, okay? But if you do, which one would break, okay? Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Drop some love down in the comments. Who do you like the most? Who's your favorite company to grade with? And no one likes upcharging PSA. Get rid of it.